What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a new series and a new video on the channel. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, I think it was, where I was talking about the canceled season of 04-05 and who I thought would have won the Stanley Cup, and I said the Ottawa Senators would have. I had a reason for that. While Ottawa maybe didn't have as much firepower and star power as Detroit was known chokers. Ottawa wasn't a known choker. They kind of were. They just got beat by Toronto a lot, so if they didn't play Toronto, they're fine. Because the one year they didn't play Toronto between 2000 and 2004, they went to the conference final, and then they lost to New Jersey. And you can't blame anyone for losing to New Jersey because they were hell to play against. So, 2004-05, the Ottawa Senators. I'm going back, and I created what I think would have been the best roster for the time, judging by players, because I had to cancel out players who, in 04, they had Peter Bondra they got at the deadline. They had Radek Bonk, who left because 2005 canceled basically all these free agent things, and they didn't have Hasek in 04, but he would have signed with Ottawa in 05, and he would, but before the 05-06 season. But Hasek would have signed previous, so you have to accommodate for all these exceptions and stuff. That's why this was kind of took longer than I expected to put together. But I think I've created a good enough lineup that I probably would have used, and it's pretty good. So on the top you have Hossa, Spezza, and Alfredsson. Remember, Danny Heatley isn't traded to Ottawa until the 05-06 season, and so Hossa is still a member of the Ottawa Senators. He would go to the Thrashers and have great success. But who knows if they win the cup this year? Maybe Hossa sticks around, and maybe they don't trade for Heatley. Who knows? When you have Spezza and Alfredsson on the middle, Alfredsson is going to the Hall of Fame this year. Spezza has potential to become a Hall of Famer. I think if he does get in, it won't be first ballot. It'll be later down the road when they're adding people that probably could have got in. He'd be like a Jeremy Roenick or a is Ray Whitney in the Hall of Fame? I'm not sure. But guys that have to wait a little bit, and Roenick and Larmer, the two Hawks that should have been in first ballot a long time ago. And Roenick, I can understand why he might have. He did say a few things. He was right, but he did say a few things that pissed the NHL off. And then you also have Larmer, who was never heard anyone complain about him. Fantastic player, should have been first ballot, and he's not, and he's still not. Criminal. So yeah, you have Hossa, Spezza, and Alfredsson on the first line. Next you have Peter Schaefer, Brian Smolinski, and Martin Havlat. So you already have Blackhawk, and we'll get to another Blackhawk down here, but and another one. So there's 5 Blackhawks on this team that I created. I didn't include any healthy scratches. Pretend injuries don't exist in this universe, because I wasn't going to go that far. So yeah, Peter Schaefer, Brian Smolinski, Havlat. Smolinski had a good run in Ottawa. Schaefer was excellent in Ottawa. Could play the penalty kill. Good middle six forward. Havlat, he was still young coming into his own. He wasn't what he was still young. He would have a horrible injury in 05-06, and then he would eventually be traded to Chicago in 06-07. But yeah, Havlat could have had a good year. Could have had a real showing of what he could have been, what he was going to be in Chicago. And then on the third line, you have a pair of young upcoming talents, and then you have an enforcer. So Antoine Vermette, pretty crucial in the Hawks' 2015 Cup run. He was only 21. He would have only been 21 years of age for the season. Carrie Fisher's husband, Mike Fisher. It's funny because people always said, Carrie Fisher. I was like, oh yeah, Mike Fisher's husband. When most people thought it was the other way around. People knew Mike Fisher because of Carrie Underwood. I was backwards. But yeah, and then you have Chris Neal, who was one of those guys who would fight. He was a hitter, he was a fighter. He played enforcer, the role basically. And on the third line, he also had a bit of offense to him with playing with some talent. Fisher, Vermette, and Neal, it's a good shutdown line. Fisher was a good two-way forward with some offensive upside. Vermette as well. Neal can just hit people, and that knocks people off the puck and gets the play going the other way. Then on the fourth line, you have another kind of more shutdown line. You have a young Patrick Eaves, you have a young Chris Kelly, and then you have Brandon Bochinski, who also I'm pretty sure played with the Hawks. If I'm not wrong, he was involved in the Patrick Sharp trade, if I can remember correctly. Was he? I can't recall. But or some similar name like that. But yeah, so oh no, the Chris Versteeg trade. That's the trade. I'm pretty sure the Hawks traded him for the young Chris Versteeg. But yeah, Bochinski on the fourth line is good. Chris Kelly on the fourth line would go on to have a run in Boston. Won the cup with them. Won the cup in Boston. Patrick Eaves played a while. Just retired a few years ago, in fact. And yeah, he was a good depth player and worked his way right into the Ottawa lineup. And then you go to the defensive side. This top four is absolutely disgusting. Second overall pick, Chara was a first-round pick, I believe. First overall pick, Mazaros was a first-round pick, I think. You have Volchenkov and you have Brian Pothier. Wade Redden, fantastic defenseman. Zdeno Chara, future Hall of Famer. Chris Phillips, I don't want to say underrated. He wasn't necessarily a bust, but he was a good defenseman. Chris Phillips was a good defenseman, but he wasn't first overall pick caliber defenseman. Andre Mazaros, good defenseman throughout his career, played in Ottawa, played in Philly. He might have played in San Jose if I can recall. I can't recall. Volchenkov, good bottom two defenseman. It's good that he's a bottom two on a team like this because Volchenkov, a good defenseman. Usually I would put him in the top four, but on this team you can make it go. And then Brian Pothier, who had a pretty good 2005-06 season. That's why I gave him the sixth spot. And I didn't really see anyone else that I thought, okay, maybe this is not going to work. And also, they had five of these guys are left-handed defensemen. I didn't know what else to do because I kept getting I'm like, left-handed. Okay, Pothier's right-handed. Maybe I'll put him on that. And so I erased everything then because then I saw Mazaros and Volchenkov are also left-handed. So I'm just like, screw it, I won't do that. And then you have the goaltending, which is on a whole other level. Dominic Hasek and Ray Emery. Hasek, Hall of Famer. Ray Emery tragically passed away, was a key in that Chicago run to the 2013 Stanley Cup Final. He went 13-1, I believe, as a backup to Crawford that season near the end of his career. 13-1, absolutely phenomenal. I'm pretty sure he had like a 937 save percentage or something crazy like that. I remember he was insane. And then Hasek, of course, he'll backstop them to whatever need be. At this point, I believe he was 43-08, so he would have been about 39-40, and he still won a cup at 43, so I have no doubt that he can lead this team to a cup. So, yeah, this is what the 2004-05 lost season for the Ottawa Senators. This lineup was absolutely incredible. This is what I'm kind of looking at to do for more teams. I've come up with a few more teams besides the Duck team that I mentioned in the previous video, the next season 05-06 Ducks and what they could have been. I thought of some from the 90s as well, some other good teams from there, and we'll see when those come out. We'll see. We're getting into August now, so we're eventually going to start seeing more predictions and stuff. My predictions won't be until September. I don't care. People say like, "Oh yeah, you're copying." No, this is I know what my predictions are, but I'm also waiting on guys like Kadri to sign, like Stasny, just that kind of crap. But since they just won't sign, but Ottinger's not signed in Dallas. Neither is Robertson. Ottinger's, I just saw today, Ottinger hasn't really made any progress with Dallas, so we'll see how that goes anywhere. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to see more videos like this, and just in general, because it really motivates me. And, yeah, that's really all I have for you guys in this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.